Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Great America Show. It's great to have you with us. There's so much going on. This is such a busy week for news in the middle of the summer. When everyone's on vacation, everyone's having fun with the kids, the grandkids at the pool. Republicans, or at least some of them, are in D.C. hard at work. The House Oversight Committee panel, who's responsible for subpoenaing some of the most powerful people in the world, take it upon their duty to subpoena some of those people. Bill and Hillary Clinton, James Comey, William Barr, Merrick Garland, Eric Holder, Robert Mueller, all the gang. That's right. The House Oversight Committee voting this week to subpoena those, among others, led by Congressman Scott Perry, and voted through an overwhelming voice vote, motion to direct to, of course, House Oversight Chairman James Comer, to formally issue subpoenas compelling those top officials to testify and submit documents related to Epstein's network and potentially incriminating ties into some of the elite circles into Washington, D.C. Now, Scott Perry, who's a great American Freedom Caucus guy, putting out the following message, quote, "I have a motion to subpoena the following individuals to expand the full committee's investigation into Ghislaine Maxwell." He calls her Miss Maxwell. And the list reads as follows: William Jefferson Clinton, Hillary Diane Rotten Clinton, James Bryan Comey, Loretta Elizabeth Lynch, Eric Hampton Holder Jr., Merrick Bryan Garland, Robert Swain Mueller III, William Pelham Barr, Jefferson Bogart Sessions III, and Alberto Gonzalez. That's the full list, Mr. Chairman, and that is the motion, says Scott Perry. Now, all of this comes as, of course, Tulsi Gabbard has been releasing some damning evidence on Hillary Clinton and the rest of some of those people who you heard there in that subpoena list, total scumbags who sought to undermine democracy for the last 10 years going after President Trump and anyone who stood in their way of destroying America, because that's exactly what they've done and what they've tried to do, quite frankly. So there's so much going on with that. Our guest today is a good friend of mine, great friend of the shows, and an honest pollster. He's at The Honest Pollster on Twitter. Head and lead pollster for Rasmussen Reports, the great Mark Mitchell.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. You know, I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets.
I'm interrupting this commercial to do something I've never done before. Get 2 MyPillows absolutely free on orders of $100 or more. I can't do this forever, so get on board with this great sale today. Our best-selling 6-piece bath towel sets or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Our famous standard MyPillows only $14.98. Queens $18.98. King size only $1 more. Body pillows $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color. So go to MyPillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And when you spend $100 or more, get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Mark Mitchell, it's been a while since we spoke. You're on vacation for the entire summer. I'm getting a few days off. Somehow you're tanner than I sitting at the Jersey Shore. I don't understand how that's working. But I want to get to the issue that we last left off on when we were talking, and it was the time around the Epstein files. And I mean, I can't tell you the amount of Twitter messages I get, the amount of emails I get, and the amount of DMs that I get. People encouraging me, keep your foot on the pedal about the Epstein stuff. Don't let your foot off, regardless of what people like Charlie Kirk or some of these other people who are doing the bidding of other people want you to do it. I'm not. I quite frankly, I'm not. I don't care who I'm appeasing or who I'm disappointing. Facts be the facts. So last time we spoke, President Trump's numbers were in the tank because people were upset. I want to get an update now where we sit, his daily number, his weekly numbers. Right. Where is he at right now?
And I am still working. I'm not on vacation. Come on, man. I'm working from 9 to 1 and then again like 9 to 1.
And when your kid is working too, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's true. But yeah, he's not doing great. Not doing great at all. He had all these domestic policy wins, and the Democrats looked absolutely insane, torching cars out in LA and stuff like that. And he was at +8. That's really incredible for a guy that won with +2 and with how much vitriol has been, just aimed at him his entire last decade. But then it plunged to -4, I think was the lowest it got. And that's 1 point away from his bottom. And that was when the market imploded 15%. So this Epstein stuff is exactly when it happened. And there were probably some other things that contributed. But Epstein was just as damaging to Trump as a 15% correction in the stock market. That's how big this is.
Yeah.
Now, it's risen back up again. It got to +2. It's back underwater at -1 today. So it looks like he's probably going to hover around here for the rest of the summer. And that's like not great. That's less than he was in the fall, even despite all of the wins he's had. And the reason that's kind of dangerous, and again, you never know what's going to happen, but the reason it's dangerous is because this summer should be a gimme. People aren't paying attention. He just had that massive bill. He just bombed the snot out of Iran's nuclear program. His numbers should be soaring, and they're not because of Epstein. And he just gift-wrapped the biggest issue for the Democrats that he possibly could have given them. They are going to hammer Epstein all the way from here to November 26th. And the very first thing they do in the 120th Congress is call a special prosecutor to go after Trump for Epstein. Or a commission or something like that. And so this is going to be in every television ad. It's running round the clock on MSNBC and CNN. And you can say, oh, well, you have to trust Trump, and Trump's, it's just an unforced error. It's like, no, if it's an unforced error, it's the biggest error of his career. He literally attacked his core base. And we talked about the polling. The polling showed that people are like, no, we should get to the bottom of this. Like, young girls were assaulted. We shouldn't just like sweep it under the rug. We have an FBI. Let's investigate. And now Trump's saying, okay, well, we're going to release what's out there. And that's good. I don't think it's going to be enough. People are going to come back on Labor Day. Yeah. They're going to get super engaged in politics. And it's just going to be Epstein wall-to-wall coverage.
Yeah, so I want to break down a few of the things here because you've been getting a lot of heat on Twitter. You've probably been losing a lot of Twitter followers. It's over something stupid. And this is what people don't understand. And what I've been trying to relay to, I guess, I'm not ultra MAGA anymore. I guess I guess some on the right would not even call me MAGA anymore, even though I would do everything to ensure President Trump has a beautiful next 3.5 years. And I know you would too, because it's what's good for America. All the times that you and I talk, as frequent as we talk, you're not a Trump guy. You're not this guy. You're an America guy, which is what we all are down in the core, with the exception of the Democrats, Mark. Yeah. So us talking about this doesn't make us anti-Trump. It doesn't make us anti-MAGA. And I have to keep reiterating this for the people who are saying, enough with the Epstein things. You guys are trying to tank Trump. No, we're not trying to tank Trump. This is something that his attorney general came out and said, the files are on my desk. They will be out X, Y, and Z. This is not Mark Mitchell and John Fawcett. This is not Mark Mitchell and Tucker Carlson. This is not Mark Mitchell, Tucker Carlson, John Fawcett, and the rest of them saying, you promised us this. No, you told us the files were on your desk. If you never came out and said something so stupid, people wouldn't care about it.
Attacking the base. That's the big one. Listen, you can be Trump or not Trump. My thing is that I'm looking out for the voters. And right now, what the voters want is the MAGA agenda. And the MAGA agenda is more popular than Trump. So if Trump's going to do something that jeopardizes the voters' ability to get what they want, and my numbers show it, I'm going to scream the alarm. And so, again, I think this is maybe like a Twitter bot phenomenon, because I know where the pure Trump communities are. And even the pure Trump communities were like, what the hell is he doing? This doesn't make any sense. These are people that have been with him for a decade and helped him win in 2016. And they're like, what the hell? And so I really do think that we are seeing a bot problem on Twitter, because every time somebody opposes me on what I'm saying about Epstein, it's a logical fallacy. It's like, well, you're not a real conservative, or you've lost the plot. It's nothing of substance. And so, like, screw you. I have numbers. Pam Bondi said case closed. Only 16% of Americans agree. You can't just make that go away. It's not going to go away.
Right. There's no. That's what I guess the easiest way to say it, right, without talking in soliloquies and circles, is it's what was promised. It's not like it's nothing personal. There's nothing personal about this that we hate Donald. I love Donald Trump. I love everything he's done for this country. Everything. Right. It's nothing personal. Yeah. It's just that he's got stupid people around him who have put him in this situation. Stupid people being Pam Bondi. Now, we're getting all these Russiagate documents out right now, which are terrific, but they should have been out 4 years ago, 5 years, whatever. They should have been out. John Ratcliffe was running the DNI. He should have found these documents, okay? We shouldn't have had to wait till now to get them out. It's beautiful that we're getting them out, but at the same time, in my opinion, and I want to get your opinion on this, it's not going to make the Epstein thing go away.
No. And the reason Trump could have made the Epstein thing go away, he still can. The reason people are freaked out about Epstein, it's like politicians fail in their campaign promises all the time. But the reason this one is special is because Trump got voted in because people are pissed off at the state of the government and the lack of accountability. And so there's a laundry list of like 20 or 30 real things that we need to have accountability for. And if the most easy layup turns out we're just going to punt on it, it's like nothing to see here, then you can pretty much assume that on all these other ones, like the 2020 steal, like Act Blue laundering, the foreign dollar like donations, right? Like all of these things, like the Hillary Clinton email stuff that we could probably still go after, like all of this stuff, we're going to get no accountability on because all these rich and wealthy people are just going to skate. And that's what America thinks. And Trump not only tried to make that go away, I know this from a good source. The second Pam Bondi came out and made that statement, we went into the field with questions. We said, is the case closed? 16%, 68% said no, there are wealthy and powerful predators who need to face accountability. Almost 7 in 10 Americans. And the other question was, do you believe the FBI and the DOJ that there was no Epstein client list? That was 57% said, no, we don't. Only 21% believed them. Only 27% of Republicans. That's a problem. I sent those numbers to somebody that got them on the desk at the White House. The next morning, he came out and trashed his followers. That's a problem. This isn't like Trump making an unforced error. This is Trump not understanding that the core of MAGA, it's great you have all these economic wins. And yes, it is partially economic, but this is about righting wrongs, and a wrong is not being righted here. Easiest thing you could do is just say, oh, you know what? The FBI used to be run by scumbags. It isn't anymore. We don't trust anything they acquired. So we're going to launch our own Epstein investigation. And you know what? That would probably take 2 or 3 years. And it would give them a lot of great optics. They could say, oh, we have new stuff in the Epstein investigation. Put it out to America. They would trust that stuff. That's how you rebuild trust in the institution. This is just like the FBI that Americans think was Joe Biden's personal Gestapo just told you that wealthy and powerful people that we all presume were partaking in sex trafficking are all going to skate. Americans say, no, screw you.
Yeah, we're all supposed to believe that the only person implicated in this whole thing was Ghislaine Maxwell, who sits in jail, and Jeffrey Epstein, who's dead as hell. It's like Mark Mitchell going out to a club one night with John Fawcett, who's single, hanging out with 30 girls and posting a picture on Instagram. Mark Mitchell's wife sees it, and she's supposed to believe that Mark Mitchell was behaving there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, everybody sees through this. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, otherwise, he's the most prolific sex offender in the history of the world. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's one or the other, right? And everybody was just down there. I made the joke. It's like that white and blue building. It's kind of weird that it's white and blue. But that white and blue building was just where Jeffrey Epstein and all of his buddies had their bridge circle. That's what was happening there. They'd fly down. They'd play some cards, maybe a round of poker. And then they'd fly back, right? Like, that's what you do when you go to an island that isn't within the U.S. jurisdiction.
Right.
Unbelievable.
And I don't believe Donald Trump is implicated, by the way. I just want to get that out there. I don't believe Donald Trump. He's probably in the files, as they've intimated, but in the same sense that we've known that he's on flight logs, that he knew Jeffrey Epstein the same way everyone else knew this man who was worth a lot of money, who was a socialite. It's the same way, right, as anything else. It's the same way that everyone was friends with P. Diddy, right? And not everyone's looking at everyone who's friends with P. Diddy like they're scumbags, okay? Yeah. After the fact, it is what it is. So after Donald Trump figured out who Jeffrey Epstein was, he banned him from Mar-a-Lago, and that's it. So yes, he probably is in these documents in some sense. Now, if Donald Trump was really in these documents, Mark, you have the Democrats now. Now we found out that they ran this Russia collusion hoax. We found out that Russia apparently had more dirt on Hillary Clinton than they had on Donald Trump. She was having she needed tranquilizers. She was bipolar. All this stuff that they planned to release. So the dirt was on her. Do we think for a hot second, Mark, if Donald Trump was there was an inkling of Donald Trump being with a minor or another woman, the Democrats would have not put it out.
Yeah. There's so many good logical analysis that you can apply to this, because there's so many interests. It's like, okay, well, was the IC the good actor here? Was the IC the bad actor here? Were there certain factions in the IC that took the information and corrupted it? Was it our IC or was it somebody else's? And in all those things, there's different logical analysis, right? But I again, with you, I'm look at all the evidence and I say probably Trump is not implicated at all. I don't know if they would have used it or not, because there does seem to be a predisposition to try and use things as leverage over people.
Right.
But what I can tell you now, I just don't know. But
we can agree on one thing, Mark. It didn't matter. Doesn't matter when it comes to leverage or anything. Blackmail trumps, no pun intended, everything when it comes to Donald Trump, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have not been able to find anything on this person for sure. And what I look at the situation now, I look at the Democrats and I say, well, they are making this their thing. This is Russian collusion 2.0. And it happened in the exact same time in the first term when the Russian collusion dropped. They were working on it for a while, but when the time was right, they struck. And this will probably take till Labor Day if it starts to hurt Trump. That's when it will hurt Trump. And it will parallel when Biden had Afghanistan, when Trump had the Russian collusion. And will it destroy him? No, but it's going to make the Republicans lose the midterms, which they're already on the track to do. And again, I think there's ways out of it. And I think the Democrats have no intention of releasing anything at all, period. But that's not going to stop them from literally just banging this drum for the next 2 years.
Yeah, because they're calling the bluff and they know where they're at and they know where the cards are. The Democrats are not stupid people. They're maniacal people and they're malicious people. Don't ever get that twisted. The Republicans are the stupid ones. Don't ever get that twisted. So let's talk about these Russia documents. And I was talking with Lee Smith the other day on this show, who's written 3 books about the war on President Trump dating back to 2017, produced a movie on it, which the great Lou Dobbs wrote the foreword for. And what I told Lee was, with everything we've seen going on with the backlash now for the Epstein documents, if the Republicans, if Donald Trump and his DOJ and his FBI do not come up with some sort of legitimate indictments for what we've gotten out of these Russia documents. Okay, you have the president of the United States stating on television that a former president of the United States committed treason. Okay, you've got Tulsi Gabbard out here laying out that John Brennan, James Comey, James Clapper all conspired in treasonous activity to overthrow a leading candidate at first, spied on him illegally, and then to overthrow a sitting president of the United States. If no meaningful indictments come out of this, the Republicans can kiss 2026 goodbye and they can kiss 2028 goodbye, because the people are tired of bullshit indictments. They're tired of indictments of some low-level lawyer who gets a slap on the wrist and walks away.
Yeah.
We've all been put through hell watching this happen to this man for the last 10 years. People who know him, their lives have been put through hell over the last 10 years. The American people are not going to settle for a bullshit indictment of some low-level lawyer or some low-level assistant this time around. Your take.
Agree 100%. This was a referendum on corrupted government, this election. It really was. There was an economic component, but it's like, well, the corrupted government caused a massive inflation crisis. Like, that's part of it, right? Because 48% voted for Kamala Harris, but only 30% trust the federal government. And then we asked just about this particular thing here, 42, I think it was, 42% of America still believes that Trump colluded with Russia. 60% of Democrats still believe it. Now, this was before the recent revelations. This was like from 3 weeks ago. But even despite that, 57% said, well, if people manipulated intel to get Trump, they should face prison. 57%, including a plurality of Democrats. So Democrats believe the Russian collusion hoax by a majority, but they want to see arrests. And so we've polled on arrests a lot, and people want to see it. Now, my understanding is these agencies operate relatively independently. I look at Tulsi Gabbard. It looks like she's reading a script. And I say that in a good way, meaning I think that they know the sum totality of what they have and they intend to release it incrementally, which is a really horrible thing for Democrats because that would drive a lot of news cycles between now and November 26th. Now, whether Pam Bondi does anything with that, is capable of doing anything with that, is a whole different question. And unfortunately, because of the Jeff Sessions situation, because of how hard it is to get people confirmed, we have a real big confirmation problem going on right now. I don't think you're going to see Pam Bondi get fired. And believe it or not, people don't even want Pam Bondi to get fired. We asked about this Epstein stuff. Only 19% of Republicans said she's doing excellent on Epstein, but Republicans don't want her fired. So she like, that's the thing. This might move public opinion. It all just depends on what they have and how much they put out there. And my advice would be put out literally everything and then also give us arrests. Like that's probably the best case scenario. But Republicans are losing right now. The generic ballot is Democrat +4. And you can look at other cycles and say, well, the Democrats had a bigger lead. But the Democrats tend to get what they need. And if we go into election with a national House popular vote of Republicans underwater, Democrats are going to take the House. That's just what it comes down to, at least. And they'll probably steal some Senate seats. And then it's like that just kneecaps MAGA. That's it. The legislative agenda, which is non-existent to begin with, is just totally dead.
Yeah, you just laid out the big picture of what we really care about, that the people who are saying that we're cancerous to the MAGA movement don't understand. We're looking at a big picture, not small picture, which they are. The sad thing is, Mark, is, and I give James Comer the highest level of regard often here on this show because I know him to be a good man, and I know him to do a great deal of work. And I think we're going to have to rely on him, unfortunately, here to do some work that should be getting done by the Department of Justice and the FBI. Just like yesterday, the House Oversight Committee is going to be subpoenaing, voted 8-2 to subpoena, I believe, Bill and Hillary Clinton for Epstein-type documents. Now, I don't want to go back to the Epstein case because, we're all tired of hearing about it, but it's sad that we have to rely on a House committee now, though, more than we can rely on our Department of Justice run by a Trump appointee to get the job done. It's like, this is not how things are supposed to work, Mark.
I had hoped maybe that we would have seen 5 or 10 special prosecutors by now. And people could say, well, special prosecutors isn't the right way to go. It takes too long. And it's like, doesn't normally take too long because they're just trying to extend the clock. Like, what would a well-selected, voracious special prosecutor do with one of these cases? And maybe it's not the best way, but it would be a symbolic way to show that we're taking action. But what's happening right now is this stuff's getting sent to the DOJ, and it's just a black hole. And maybe it won't stay a black hole, but I mean, we're all used to it being like that. And the optics of Bill and Hillary Clinton, I think we'll see, once they go and testify, here's what's really going to happen. I keep bringing this back to the midterms. That's why I'm talking about Epstein. And again, Trump's numbers will probably recover, but the Republicans are underwater already. And this will hang over the Republicans because people don't like the one big beautiful bill that much. They aren't really getting anything done. It looks like business as usual in Washington, D.C., and they're all going to fail. So what I've been using is I've been taking this opportunity to give Republicans a plan of what they can do. And it's like, it's great we have a DOJ. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. But I love to see Comer doing this because Mike Johnson's like, oh, we should go and recess. And here you have the oversight committee saying, no, we're going to take this into our own hands. Fine. Good. Like, let's have more of it.
Yeah, there's a few good men, no pun intended, there. Yeah. And women. I mean, Anna Paulina Luna is doing a terrific job over there. But the rest of them, Mark, don't give a damn. They take their $174,000 a year if you're a committee chairman or whatever, you're $200,000+ a year, and they run and they want their summers off. And that's what it's like. I mean, it's so pathetic that it's like these people are forced to be there. Well, give up your seat and get out. I mean, I can't think of any other reason why you'd be there other than maybe you want to learn how to trade stocks or something like that. These people don't want to work. They don't care to work. And there's a few good men in Congress, and the rest of them ruin it for everybody. There's going to become a day where Jamie Raskin or Jasmine Crockett or AOC is going to be running the Judiciary or the Oversight Committee. What do Republicans think is going to happen if Donald Trump is still in office an AOC or a hood rat Crockett or the rest of these idiots are running a committee. Maybe one impeachment.
That's the future. That's good. That is, we are, what is it? July, August, September, October. We're 16 months away from that reality. Well, then 17, 18. So, like January of 27, this is what's going to happen. And it's all going to happen really fast. And the Republicans in November are going to be like, oh, we lost. And they're just going to roll over. And the Democrats so what I've been trying to propose is a way to buck the historical trend of the in-power party losing House seats. And it's just, even without anything happening, history tells us that there's like a 97% chance the House is going to flip. The Democrats are going to pick up 20-something seats. That's just what is going to happen, right? So what Republicans can do, in my opinion, is stop business as usual. And business as usual is what I've described as pork orgies. These DC bills that you and I both know, John, that they couldn't have written 3,000 pages in 2 months. That bill has been alive for 5 years. Probably some lobbyists have been like keeping dibs on it. There's probably some think tank who's tallying up all the favors that different people owe each other. And it's like, oh, Republicans got into power again. It's our turn to pay ourselves all of the favors that we've asked of each other. That's what that bill was. And it didn't cut crap. It did what? 24% of Trump's executive orders, which should have been like no-brainers, like you just do them all. And okay, fine, it extended the tax cuts and it got a few things through, but it's like, it was a DC bill. So my advice to Republicans, every week from now to November of 26, pass a one-page bill with something that is popular in it. And there is a lot. There's a lot. You could probably get into government contracting. You could probably do stuff with the DOD, like election integrity.
Damn wall already. How about that?
Yeah, anything. It's like the Shia LaBeouf meme. Like, just do it. Like, that's what America wants out of you Republicans, is do something other than just being like the Republican legislators. And again, there are individual ones with principles, but it is basically a mechanism to reward each other. That's what it is. That's the entire Republican Party. It's not controlled opposition. It's all just a donor grifting and taxpayer money hustling scam. That's what the Republican Party is. And they could change it now. Like one-page bill. It doesn't take 6 weeks to, like, when a one-page bill is like every employer with more than 30 employees has to use E-Verify. Like, it's not hard. And they will not do it.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Have you seen, to move on a little bit from this too, because it's like so depressing, Mark. It's like idiotic that the voters gave the Republicans the world and they've managed to screw it up. And I guess it comes as no surprise. Like, this is constantly what they do. Have you watched any of the Hunter Biden material, these interviews that he's been doing lately?
No, I haven't seen it. I've heard about it. And
so I want to play.
He's rubbing two-tier justice in everybody's face is what he's doing.
So I want to play. It was a 2-hour interview he did on YouTube. I want to play it for you. The audience heard it the other day, but I want to get your reaction on this because it's absolutely brilliant. Let's take a listen to it together.
No. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, because they think cocaine, Scarface, very cool. Yeah. Crack cocaine, they think The Wire.
Oh, in that sense? Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't know how similar the chemical compounds are.
Well, the only difference between crack cocaine and cocaine is sodium bicarbonate and water and heat, literally.
That's it?
That's it.
And those things are pretty much free if you go to like a science store.
This is free. You can go to your neighborhood convenience store and just get. Anyway, I don't want to tell people how to make crack cocaine, but it literally is a mayonnaise jar, cocaine, and baking soda.
How different is the experience?
It's vastly different. And like for real, I feel really reluctant to kind of have some euphoric discussion. I know you're not asking me to do that, but have some euphoric discussion about crack cocaine.
I think this might be kind of the opposite here.
Okay, no, it's the exact opposite. I'm saying I don't want to have the experience of some euphoric recall. That's how powerful crack cocaine is. Does crack cocaine make you act any differently? No. Is it safer than alcohol? Probably. People think of crack as being dirty. It's the exact opposite. When you make crack, what you're doing is you're burning off all the impurities so that it combines with the sodium bicarbonate, which makes it smokable. That's all. You know, all of these actors and, you know, people in the past that talked about they had a problem with cocaine and freebasing. They were smoking crack.
So straw on the stove is the same thing.
Not exactly, but close to it. But it's a little bit different. But anyway.
Hey,
when I get home, you want to
than I know polling. Like, it's incredible, man. That guy was advising the president of the United States.
He was Joe Biden said that's the smartest man he knows. That's the Democrats, Mark. Can you imagine? This is what the Republicans are going to lose to in 2026. A man who's sitting there talking about how smoking crack is safer than having a beer or a glass of wine. Smoking crack is euphoric. It's amazing.
Yeah, crack for everybody. Why don't we came out crack in like grade school? Like, obviously, that's not only that, right? It's like, okay, everybody should be doing crack, and every boy should have a gay mentor in their life because a father is not enough. A strong, masculine father. That's the Democrat Party.
You're not making fun of Barack Hussein Obama, are you?
Yeah, of course I am, man. I want to see that guy fly. Like, and maybe he will. I don't know, but. You know, the problem with the Democrats is that they're nationally just an absolute laughingstock, but they still, in my opinion, probably have a lot of power in the intel communities. They still have the mainstream media. Those two things, I think we can all assume at this point, are inextricably linked. Their machine is funded by taxpayer money cycled back through the, you know, the arbitrage of George Soros and all the other globalist billionaire types. They have a machine that works, and that machine right now is running people like Mickey Sherrill in New Jersey, who's like a former fighter pilot, mother of four, who's going to talk super moderate in the ads. This is not about 28. This is about 26, and the Republicans, that, you know, that's the problem. And they're going to try and fight each other on moderation. There's going to be very few MAGA candidates that run. And at that point, I don't know if people are still going to like Trump or not, but it's like you should be running on the track record of the last year. And based on this last 6 months, the last year, they're going to get like maybe 5 more things signed. Yeah. And they're probably going to be a complete mess. It's going to be 3,000 pages that nobody knows what's going on. Yeah. And Trump will have some wins. Trump will bring back, he will bring back these investments. He will create jobs. I don't know if he gets credit for that necessarily, because the problem here goes really deep. This isn't necessarily that, oh, we just don't have enough jobs. Oh, we just have a temporary inflation crisis. No, what this is that the entire economy is reordered around people sucking off the government teat. Like, that's the problem, is that it's not meritocracy anymore. It's who you know. And it's like once you get above a certain size as a company, the sky's the limit. The public markets are just going to, keep you propped up, and the government picks winners and losers. The entire thing needs to be reorganized.
Or we turn into Europe. And you and I were talking before the show, before we wrap up. I want to talk about this a little bit because you're one of the smartest people I know. I've told you this many times. And you understand a lot of things that a lot of people don't understand. So talking about things like this with you, I think makes the most sense. I'm over in Europe, on vacation, and, passing through, I was in Geneva for a little bit. I was in Vienna for a little bit, and now I'm in Montenegro before I, move on. And, I got to speak to some people, and I sat next to somebody on a plane from Geneva to Vienna, a pilot. And we were talking about the whole situation of free universal health care, which, of course, America and the marxist dems want in America. And this man is explaining to me how the whole structure works. And now this is a man who's probably making $80,000 or $90,000 a year, somewhere in that realm as a pilot for Austrian Airlines. And he was explaining to me, the first $15,000 of your money, Mark, tax-free. Everything after that, though, can be taxed up to 60%. Now, they have universal health care here, right? So health care is free. So I asked him, I said, well, you get free health care, right? Your kids get free school. Well, yeah, but they still take out money out of my paycheck for health care. And then they take out a little bit more money of this, and then they tax it after they take out all this money. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is absolutely insane. And I always wonder, where do they get the money to pay for this? Now, granted, you've got, countries with 80 million people, 50 million, 40 million people here in Europe. But I put that together and then I get to Vienna, Mark. I get off the plane and I go get myself a soda, and a Diet Coke was €6. And I said, holy shit, this is what America is going to turn into once the Democrats get what they want. This is what we have to look forward to.
Yeah. It's a mess. We are, in my opinion, healthcare destroyed our republic. That is what. For sure. There's a sliver, there's a 0.01% chance that we can pull ourselves out of this without some kind of messy implosion. But I just looked it up. Just for instance, Germany spends 12% of GDP on healthcare. I think with the US, it's north of 20%. So that's the problem, is our regulatory capture is way, 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 way worse. And our healthcare is very expensive. The difference is that over there, American liberals can be reasonably convinced that it's a land of milk and honey because the government pays for it. Here, we all pay for it, and it's horrifying and oppressive. And over there, it's like they get another 2 or 3% boost because they don't need a standing army this size of what they really need. You know what I mean? It's like,
who's paying for it?
Yeah, us, NATO, right? Like that's exactly what happened. Is like, we're mostly surrounded by water, so we can spend our money on a navy, but they are surrounded by other European countries that could all turn on each other at any point in time, like they have in the past. And so, what do they really need is probably to spend 5, 6, 7, 8% on military. And no, they have a United States backstop that allows them to spend all this taxpayer money on, again, like 12% of GDP, not 21%. And so already the tax burden is massive, even though their healthcare system isn't as corrupt as ours. And they have, obviously, like they have better outcomes. I don't think it has anything to do with the healthcare. I think it has to do with, again, our regulatory capture with pharma and big ag and all these other things that shove garbage down people's throats, right? So hopefully there's another question, right? Like, excuse me. There were a lot of promises made to make America healthy again. Like, what happened?
I think RFK is on his way. RFK, I think, is probably among some of the top. Him and Tom Homan, I think, are two of the best that he's got working for him right now. You got Coca-Cola.
America needs to know about it, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, 100%. But I was telling someone this the other day, Mark. How the hell did we get to this situation where we've got all this shit in the food when you've got? Nobody said a damn word about it for the last 25 years. Now all of a sudden we've got red dye 50, red dye 40, orange this, blue that, pink this. And it's literally cancerous poison. And it's taken RFK, a Democrat, to come in to work for Donald Trump for the American people to figure out all the shit they've been feeding us.
This is why I get a lot of flack for this too. And I say right now that I am not a free market capitalist.
Ooh.
A society without Western values that has no integrity is not equipped to handle a free market capitalist society. Because what happens is it's more profitable, John, to make your stuff as cheaply as possible. It's more profitable to load it full of chemicals that make it taste better. It's more profitable to give people sick care that prolongs their treatment and manages chronic situations as opposed to addressing the root cause. And so a society that doesn't have values will profit off of that stuff, as ours has. And we can look at Europe and say that we're the least dirty shirt in many situations. But I think as far as letting free market capitalism run rampant, because there's a revolving door and because, quite frankly, the voters don't have any recourse in Congress, And any massive corporation can spend an army of lobbyists. And you and I walked around the halls of Congress. There were maybe 2 class trips there, and everybody else was a lobbyist.
Mark, we waited an hour in line, 100 degrees outside. And who was in front of us? The Real Estate Association of America. I can't even say it. This lobbyist, this lobbyist, this lobbyist. You and I sat out there for an hour, sweating our asses off, as these lobbyists waited in line to go lobby. I mean,
that's who our legislators represent.
Why do we put up with it?
But America will not put up with it past a certain point. And maybe we'll get there. I don't know. Trump can't fix all these problems. Like he literally just physically can't. And so at a certain point, you have to wonder what's better for America, for Trump to hobble along, get as much done as he can with a corrupted party. And I don't say controlled opposition. The Republican Party is corrupted. It's not controlled. And they're going to get nothing done. And he'll try and put a good face on it. And maybe that's enough to drag him over the finish line in 26 and in 28, or maybe the pendulum swings back. And if the pendulum swings back, based on what I see, I can presume that the Democrats are going to weaponize government even more than they did under Biden. Because I think under Biden, it was weaponized, but I think a lot of it was also like...
Say it ain't so.
I mean...
I'm just messing with you.
No, at a certain point, we just need the bugaloo. Like, that's what it comes down to. At a certain point,
we have to sit here and laugh about it because it's gotten so idiotic that we're in this situation. It's gotten so idiotic that we're living in a third world country right now, worse than the likes of Lithuania.
Yeah. Like this is, I've gotten to the point where I can see the Matrix. Like it's almost too much for me. I'm going to have a tinfoil hat. I'm going to like grow my fingernails long and like move out to Montana because the lies and the gaslighting coming from the right about again, back to Epstein, but it's such a ridiculous thing, John. I don't want to see the list. I want to see people hang from trees. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see accountability for these victims that I was told exist. If the victims were lying or the victims don't exist, come and tell me that. Exactly. But don't give me some list and say, well, it may have innocent people on it. We don't know. But let's leave the police work up to you, John Q. Public. No, we have an FBI. We spend $11 billion a year on it. Like, figure it out because Americans want to see accountability. They don't like the two-tier system of justice. 94%. It was a 94% number, John. Agree that public officials need to be held to the same standard of accountability as everyday citizens. That's the most popular thing I've ever polled on. Yeah. So for the right to think that they can just say, no, we looked at the files, it's fine, we're just shutting this down. Forget what we told you for 10 years. It's a problem with you, not with us. And I just probably lost you another 100 followers, but like that's the problem is that lies do not work. They can maybe kick the can short term, but it's going to catch back up with them, and it's going to be ugly.
One of Lou's favorite sayings, and he never really used cliches much, but he'd, I'd give him a story and he'd say, "Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining," but they're literally pissing all over us and telling us it's raining. And they have been, for the last 10 years now, and nobody's done a damn thing about it. Thomas Massey, everyone, and this is I'll lose another 100 followers right now or 1,000.
There you go. Bringing up Thomas Massey.
I'm going to talk about Thomas Massey, right, who's a total bullshit artist. People think he's this great MAGA guy. He's not. Thomas Massey has talked about Epstein now 30 or 40 times under Donald Trump. He's mentioned Jeffrey Epstein 0 times under Joe Biden. So this is a man who cares about Jeffrey Epstein. He cares about victims. Why is it that he's waited now till the last 6 months that he wants to start talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Why didn't he talk about him for the last 5 years? Thomas Massey, whoa, you're a great American. You care about these victims. You care about everyone who was molested by this sick pedophile scumbag. But you only want to talk about him now that Donald Trump's president. So which one is it, Thomas Massey? Yeah. Do you care about the children who are raped? Or do you care about trying to ruin Donald Trump, who is going to ruin your political career? I guarantee it.
Yeah, I guess it's grandstanding. That's what it looks like. I don't know. That's the conclusion, right?
But it's the same. You spoke about lobbyists. Lindsey Graham. It was over in Ukraine lobbying for war. 3 months ago. It's just all across the board. I think once you get lobbying out of government, Mark, you probably see a completely different landscape than we see right now. The day that's the day you get lobbying out. You don't get lobbying out, it's going to be business as usual and same old bullshit as usual. And I don't mean to use profanity. I know people don't like when I do. But
here, I'll lose you another 100 followers. Term limits are dumb. Term limits are stupid. If you support term limits, you're wrong. Because what happens is the principled people are going to leave at their term. The unprincipled people are going to run proxy candidates and have political dynasties. And then when you have more turnover in the House, these people get their information from the lobbyists. That's the problem, is that they live in a bubble and only certain information comes in. Like Trump's having the same issue. We can look at Trump right now and presume based on the actions that he's taking that he's not getting the right information. This happens with all the legislators as well. They think it's totally fine. If, that sounds really cool, Pfizer, we should do that. And, by the way, you're going to fund my campaign? That's great. And so when you take the principled people out of there, it's just gonna keep going.
Yeah. Mark, you and I could talk for hours as we usually do. I mean, there's some nights you'll call me at 1 o'clock in the morning and we'll talk for 2.5 hours just about nonsense because it's just, I mean, we're in such a troubling time right now. And it's not supposed to be a troubling time, right? It's supposed to be a time where we're celebrating the wins that should be had. And we find ourselves in this bad situation. That's only going to get worse if it doesn't get corrected here. I'll let you go. I know you have a busy weekend. I've got a dinner reservation. You get the last word here.
Republicans need to change, and they need to change fast. I've said this. I want to keep saying this. They need to announce a new investigation every week. They need to name 5 special prosecutors on top of that. Then they need to pass a popular one-page bill every week between now and November 26th. It would be great if they got rid of the filibuster rule and actually sign these things into law, because Americans want to see a government that functions for them and not the special interests. The Republicans could so easily do that, and they're not going to do it. And then finally, I've said this a couple times too, and this will lose you another 100 followers, is that I think that it's on Trump to reconcile with Elon, because I think that Elon, although he was over the top, was let down by the Republicans. And the Republicans are not going to apologize to Elon. And I know Trump has a big ego. He's probably not going to do it. But we need his billions. They need his billions to not launch an America party that's going to split the Republican vote and make it even more accelerationist. They need to reform the Republican Party, because you can drown out maybe some of these special interests by getting to the people that are the power mongers, the people hidden within the system that control where all this money goes, and go after them brutally. And that has never been done in the Republican Party. Yeah. It's still the same people playing with the strings. So anyways, come check us out. Honest Pollster on Twitter, Rasmussen _poll on YouTube.
You want to plug your stuff after you just lost me 3,000 followers. All right, no problem. You heard Mark, Honest Pollster on Twitter, Rasmussen Reports, lead pollster in the country, in my opinion. And it's not just my opinion, it's what the polls show. It's funny you brought up Elon Musk there. Donald Trump put out a Truth Social message today and actually put out a support message for Elon Musk, saying he doesn't care about killing his subsidies. He wants Elon to do good for America, and he wants his companies to do good. So there may be some reconciliation there. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I understand what you're saying from the thing. Elon acted like a child, though, doing what he did.
We don't need Elon. We need his money. You know what I mean? Like, the right had their own George Soros, and it lasted 6 months before they pushed him out the door. Like, seriously, it's messed up.
Yeah. Mark Mitchell, we'll talk to you next week.
Great. Let's do it.
Thanks, everybody, for being with us today here on the Great America Show. We'll hope to see you back here tomorrow for the Great America Show, where our quest for truth, justice, and the American way continues. Same time, same place tomorrow. We'll see you right here, back here. Until then, may God bless you, may God bless America, and may God bless the great Lou Dobbs. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks so much for being with us.